location on the second floor, across from Westies on North Main Street.
I'm serious, you guys. I love you guys. I gotta learn how to do that. Serious, yeah.
Well, but there's so many typos, like,
Is that right? Are we on? Oh, we are on. Okay, hold on one second. Just give me 1 minute, Tommy. It's a false start.
okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what we can get started.
Tom, okay, we're ready to go. Goldie, would you lead us in the pledge?
Okay, everybody stand, right, hand on the heart, and we'll go. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Goldie. Okay, Mr. Nawat, would you call the meeting to order?
Okay. Town Park Commission, Thursday, December 15th. Commissioner Sack,
Here.
Commissioner Pilla, he said he was coming. Commissioner Rosenberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Salanitro.
Here.
And Commissioner Brett.
Commissioner Brett sends her regrets, and Councilwoman Julie Killian, who's just arrived, will be sitting in
perfect.
for Laura tonight.
Okay.
Julie, come on up.
Came to a meeting, it was at 10 Pearl Street.
That's what I was afraid of.
We just
Doesn't
we
exist
decided to do
anymore.
it,
Takes a little, there must be a lot of commerce going on in
What
Port
did you,
Chester. 'cause
what did
there's
you
lots
see
of
at 10 Pearl
traffic.
Street? You saw an empty, there's nothing there,
A
correct?
pile of rubble, right?
Well, if you stay for the next meeting, you'll see that as one of our accomplishments, the sale of 10 Pearl Street. Terrific. Okay, can I, okay, so you took the roll?
Yep.
Anybody have any questions, comments on the minutes of November 17th?
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Perfect.
Second.
Bishop, call the roll?
Okay. Commissioner Killian,
Yes.
Salanitro,
Yes.
Rosenberg.
Yes.
Pilla, Sack.
Yes.
Carbon.
Yes. Okay, comments from the public? Goldie?
Before we do,
Oh,
this,
sure.
I
Please,
wanted to
yes.
make one statement.
Sure.
I'm not sure how many of you know, but this is Joe's last meeting as chair of the Rye-Town Parks Commission, as his term of supervisor of the town of Rye is up. And I just wanted to, on behalf of the village of Rybrook, say thank you for everything that you've done over the past 8 years. I can't believe it's 8 years
Yeah.
at this point. We've worked closely, especially with me being mayor for the past almost 3 years, and I just want to say I'm sorry that the dissolution didn't work out, but I have high hopes for the future. And what I wanted to do is I have a proclamation on behalf of the village of Rybrook that I'd like to read.
Please.
Village of Rybrook official proclamation. Whereas Joseph Carvin was born and raised in Port Chester, where his family has lived since 1955 and currently resides in Rybrook. And whereas Joseph Carvin graduated cum laude from Tulane University with a BA in International Relations and became a Rotary Foundation ambassadorial scholar to Senegal, where he was awarded an honorary degree from the United Nations Institute for Economic Planning and Development. And whereas Joseph Carvin also holds an MGA, well, I had to look that up, by the way, from New York University, as well as an MPA from Harvard University, and speaks fluent Spanish, Portuguese, French, and Wolof,
Yes.
a West African language. And whereas Joseph Carvin spent 10 years working for the Manufacturers Hanover Trust at the French West African desk and then Latin American desk, and whereas Joseph Carvin, after spending 10 years in the private sector, wanted to get back into public service, so he attended the mixed career program at the Harvard University Kennedy School of Government, where he received a master's degree in public administration, which led him back to the town of Rye. And whereas Joseph Carvin was elected the Rye Town Supervisor in 2007, has since then been on a crusade to make the town smaller, more efficient, reducing town expenditures and property taxes, refusing to take salary as supervisor, consolidating or selling unnecessary municipal buildings and assets, maintaining a platform of open government, and his tireless efforts to study and consider town dissolution. And whereas Joseph Carvin implemented the first REM foreclosure program in 10 years, foreclosing on 14 commercial properties and seizing title to more than $3.2 million in assessed property value. Well, it's interesting to have that in a proclamation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Paul S. Rosenberg, Mayor of the Village of Rybrook, on behalf of the Rybrook Board of Trustees and the entire Village of Rybrook, hereby commemorate and thank Joseph Carvin for his exemplary service as supervisor of the town of Rye and his dedication to helping the residents of Rybrook. Dated December 15th.
thank you, Paul, for the very, very kind words. My Wolof hasn't really come into play since I've been town supervisor, but I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed working with you and the rest of the board, but certainly Rye Brook, Mayor Feinstein and yourself, has been a wonderful contributor to Rye Town Park. I've really enjoyed every one of our meetings, and so I can't thank enough. It's a real honor and pleasure to receive that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mayor Rosenberg, not to be outdone, the city of Rye would also like to extend our congratulations to Supervisor Carvin. And Joe, it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve with you over the past few years. And we didn't always see eye to eye, but I always knew that we were both coming from the same place. So I never had any doubt that we would arrive at the right outcome. So one of the coolest things that I have ever done, not just as a council member and a mayor of Rye, is that 5 years ago, in 2010, when the town of Rye was celebrating its 350th anniversary, Joe Carvin, myself, and Judge Carey's son, Doug, dressed up as the original settlers of that settled Rye in 1660, Coe, Studwell, and Disbrow. So we got into our authentic garb, including the tricorn hat and the knicker pants and the long shirt, and we got into legitimate bona fide flatboat. And we started around the corner where no one could see us at Playland Beach, and we rode around the corner, and we made our appearance on the horizon, and we landed to great fanfare at Rye Beach, at Oakland Beach, at Rye Town Park. And man, we worked up a sweat. I mean, it was hard work, but
A lot harder than we thought.
but it was a lot of fun, Joe. And so you always, had that type of mentality. You rolled up your sleeves. You had a sense of humor about it, but you worked hard. So I think all those things, shone through, when we rode ashore. So I don't have a proclamation as eloquent as Mayor Rosenberg's, but I didn't know you did all these things. That's amazing.
I've forgotten a lot of them myself.
But in the city of Rye, we have a tradition, a relatively new tradition, where I don't want to give it all away before you open this, but there are certain things that can only be if you are a former council member or mayor or otherwise a notable person in the city of Rye. And because of the unique connection between the town of Rye and the city of Rye, including our founding together in 1660, Rye Village incorporated in 1904 as a village within the town, and then, of course, in 1942, well, we won't go there, but we separated, and but there's always been, a special partnership which manifests itself, through our work together on the Rye Town Park Commission. So, without further ado, Joe, I'd like you to open this in front of everyone because it's a very special gift
Thank you, Joe.
from the people of the city of Rye.
Thank you. And actually, if you remember, we also reached out at one point to Rye, England.
Yes.
Well, I understand dedicated the clock.
Yes.
At the Village of Rye, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely.
We tried to get them in the boat, but they wouldn't have anything to do with it.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God!
Very cool.
Look at that.
That is very cool.
Thank you very much. Again, I have to say, I really enjoy working on this commission. And Joe's the third mayor I've worked with. I want to shout out to Steve Otis, a shout out to Doug French, and a big shout out to Joe Sack. And I've enjoyed working with each of the mayors. And as you said, sometimes we might agree and sometimes we disagree. But it was always in good faith.
Absolutely.
It was always in the best interest of the park and the community. And I can't thank you enough for your hard work on the commission. Miss Brett is not here this evening.
People
but
confuse me with
she
her.
solved
They both have
solved
blonde hair. So.
the big dog problem.
Yes.
as you know,
Yes, she did.
The intractable dog problem. And Miss Killian is a City Rye official and a great friend. I can't thank you enough for coming on my last night, Julie. It really means a lot to me. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
if I can just say a couple words, I'm secretly happy Laura wasn't able to be here, though I know she is very distressed because she wanted to publicly say how much she appreciates all that you've done. I'm feeling like a little bit of a slacker after that first proclamation, but I think Joe actually knows more languages than you said. anyway, I'm extremely grateful for your public service and your dedication to the town of Rye, Portchester, Rybrook, and the city of Rye. I hope that your public service is not over, because we could use more public servants like you, and I will not call you a politician. I like to think of you as a public servant. So hopefully it's not over, but I personally am grateful, but I know we in the city of Rye, as Joe just said, are grateful for all that you've done for the town of Rye and certainly Rye Town Park. So I'm happy to be here today, and this is my second meeting. Maybe I'll come to more next year. Sorry you won't be around, but we'll have Gary there.
Exactly.
Congratulations to Gary Zuckerman. Anyway, but thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Well, that was unexpected and very much appreciated. So thank you so much, both of you. Goldie? Now, wait, where are we going to put Carvin Road? Are we going to put it? We have to. I don't know if we can
Oh, my
rename
God.
Hillendale. Mayor Rosenberg. Maybe,
Well, we have a board meeting tonight, so
Gary lives on the Hillendale. Gary, I don't know. What do you think? Maybe we go Carvin
That's right.
Zuckerman at the end of 4 years. We'll
You know,
split it in half.
I gotta thank God for Paul Rosenberg and Joe Sack. They said a lot of things that I wanted to say, but I can't say it all. But I just want to tell you that we are going to miss you. I am going to miss you. I'm sorry that you're leaving. I am sorry that you're leaving. But I'll stay here for the Rye Town Board meeting. But I just want to tell you about Rye Town Park is incredible. It's the best park in the area. It's the most beautiful park in the area. I love going there. I love watching the sun come up or the moon or whatever. And when we had rain there, the rainbow came, and it was incredible. It's just the most beautiful park, and thank God for the staff that takes care of the park. I love going there and helping Billy, hand out the programs for the concerts, which will be coming up in 2016.
Goldie, how many concerts have you got Billy up to now? I think 6? 7. That's 7. Gary, you may have to go to 10 at some point.
Yeah, but the concerts were great, and everything was great that's there. Even Seaside Johnny's, they come and they eat, and then they sit and they watch the concerts and everything. It's the most beautiful park, and it's a historic park. As a historian, I'm so grateful that you made it a historic park. And it came in your term, that it got that way. So I'm sorry that you're leaving, and what can I tell you? I'll just wait until the town board meeting. But the park, incredible, incredible.
Thank you so much, Goldie. Thank you. Other comments from the public? We have a presentation.
Can I
Yep.
actually follow up?
Please.
No, on all the kind words that were said about you and all well-deserved. Because Laura Brett is not here tonight, I also just wanted to say, make a brief mention of her. And Paul, you indicated that Laura was the one who really solved the riddle, we hope, of dogs in the park. And she wanted to help reduce the conflict and tension. And I think that what we all talked about for so long and put into place has accomplished that. So I think Laura ought to get a lot of credit for that and for all her service on the Park Commission. We're going to say our own farewells to her tomorrow night at our own council meeting, but for her role here on this panel, thank you to Laura Brett as well.
Yeah, if I could echo that. I mean, Laura has been a tremendous presence. She certainly has been the voice of reason on this commission, and she will be missed quite a bit.
And again, we struggled with the dog issue. I don't know how many years, Joe. And it was intractable. And really, Laura took that most difficult of issues on, threw herself into not the lion's den, I guess the dog's den, and really solved it with a lot of antipathy. And I think she's really come up with a good solution. And I think that typifies her performance on the board. And again, I know she was a tremendous contributor to Rye Town Park, and the people in the city of the Rye and the town of Rye ought to be very proud of her contribution.
We will pass those comments along. Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Paul, and everyone.
Thank you. Oh,
If you don't mind, if we could
Sure.
do the smoking ban, only because
yep.
I have to run to a board
and we'll
meeting.
get to, yes, perfect. Yep.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is go to 8A, smoking policy,
you'll
and the
see.
smoking ban. Where do we, I think we're picking up the conversation from last time.
Yeah, at the last meeting, we had discussed
You're
the
not getting,
possibility.
you're not coming through on the mic.
At the last meeting. What's that? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you had to push the button. All right, at the last meeting, we had talked about smoke-free policies and so forth, and how they've been expanding at beaches around the country. We were asked to at least put together a draft. What we've done is we've excerpted this from New York City's policy, which they have both smoke-free parks and smoke-free beaches. So what you have is an amalgamation. There are probably some adjustments that need to be made to customize it a little bit more for Rye Town Park, but I offer it to the board.
Perfect. And I think this reflects what we talked about last time, doesn't it? That, would you just want to summarize it,
Sure,
Mayor
thank you,
Rosenberg?
thank you, Joe. I think we talked about the fact that there would be no smoking in any of the beach areas or any of the park trails or grass areas or the, what are they called? The pavilions, thank you. And especially given the fact that the pavilions are made of wood. And one of the things that we talked about also was that the smoking would be allowed in the parking lot areas or on the sidewalks outside the park. I'm assuming people are not going to walk out to the sidewalks to smoke, and if people really want to smoke that badly, that they would smoke in the parking lots. Other than that, I think it captures, Bishop, thank you for doing this, it captures to me everything that we talked about.
So basically, the only place people will be able to smoke is in the paid parking area.
Correct.
Perfect. I think that's
Are
what we
you
talked about
doing
last
that
time.
because you figure if someone's going to smoke, instead of having them violate the rules, they have a place to go that's close by?
Yes.
Because I would have thought you could just ban it everywhere, but the idea is,
I
if
think
there
it,
is a smoker around, you give them somewhere to smoke.
I think it would be only fair to give them some place.
Someplace.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly right, yeah. And we didn't want to, having solved the dog issue, we wanted to give an escape valve at least for the smokers, to give them a recourse. But so this, I think, fairly reflects, should, any other comments from the board? I think, can I get a motion? Oh,
Bishop, yes.
Bishop,
Yeah,
please.
I just want to bring your attention to the enforcement section.
Yes.
I wasn't quite sure how to word the enforcement section because I wasn't sure where we would draw the line between Rye Town Park staff and Rye City Police. This is not really a local law, if you will. We may need to massage that particular paragraph.
Well, it'll be a park policy, and that's what, the intent is, the policy. We can amend, some of these enforcement, who want to delegate that to, but for now, the policy would be no smoking except for the designated area, which would be the parking lot. We'll have to put up some signs to that effect, but I think the
Exactly.
policy that the commission would vote on tonight would be just that, we'll deal, that's a detail. The enforcement is just a detail.
I think
Okay.
you got it largely right in any case.
Okay.
But that's going to depend on the discretion of park staff, and we don't want to escalate, but clearly we'll enforce the policy.
Should vote on that. Paul?
Good, can I get a motion to approve the smoking policy
So
for Rye Town
moved.
Park?
Second.
Bishop, call the roll?
Okay. Commissioner Killian,
Yes.
Commissioner Salanitro.
Yes.
Commissioner Rosenberg.
Yes,
Commissioner Sack.
Yes.
Commissioner Carver.
Yes.
thank you.
Terrific.
Can we
Yes,
stick
please.
with item
Yep.
8 and go to 8B?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Uh,
Paul, you need to?
No, Paul's.
I got a few more minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we have some people on their side?
Sure, so we do walkathons all the time in the park, but now I think we're going to do, for the first time ever, I hope, a paddle-a-thon. This is the SUP Stand-Up Paddle Fight Against Breast Cancer event that has been orchestrated in other locales throughout the country, but Deborah Bisaccia is here to make a presentation because she'd like to seek our approval to host this event at Rye Town Park.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Pleasure
evening.
to be here. I'm honored and privileged to have this opportunity this evening. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Debbie Bisaccia. I'm a full-time physical therapist and owner of Reforming Rehab in Harrison, New York. 5 years ago, I started SUP Om Yoga, which is a floating therapeutic oasis which operates out of the Wainwright House in Rye, New York as well. And I have this vision and this passion of creating a sea of pink to raise awareness, to raise funding, and provide early detection for women with and without cancer, and to merge and to have and create this event. And this evening, I'm asking for your permission and offering a proposal to host an event with Stand Up Paddle for the Cure in the fall, September 10th of 2016 at the beach in Rye, New York. The event will be an all-day event, and it will include 500 paddleboarders, whereby we will teach, instruct, we will have demos of SUP yoga, we will have a 5K race, and that will include kids and families. So it's an incredible opportunity to finally have the first stand-up paddleboard for the cure in Westchester County on this magnitude. This previous year, I did a small event with Soul Riders, and I was able to put 100 people on the sea. And that was just the start of this initial momentum and vision, greater vision that I had. 100% of the proceeds will go to Susan G. Komen, and I'm really passionate about having the opportunity to be able to bring this event to our community, to raise awareness, to create healthier and stronger connections for people and family members to come together.
Wonderful. Comments from the board?
Debbie, I don't know if you recognize me. I didn't recognize you until you got up and said your name, but I did do stand-up paddleboarding for the first time with you this past August at Nursing. I loved it.
Thank you.
I really like yoga and I really like paddleboarding. I didn't think I'd like it together, but it was great. And
I'm so honored.
I appreciate your passion for that and your passion for helping this great cause. So I'm all for it. I can't wait.
Absolutely, seems like a no-brainer. This is something.
It is no-brainer. The only
Yeah.
question I had was the date. Do we,
September 10th.
no, I saw what the day was, but are we charging normally? What's our normal charge on?
Post Labor Day, right?
Yeah, it's
It
post-Labor
would be
Day.
post-Labor Day. It'd be very similar, although the numbers are much smaller, but it'd be very similar to what you do for the triathlon.
Triathlon, yeah.
Right.
in terms
Okay, so
of-
we're not charging those days. That's all I wanted to make sure.
No, we have a small charge.
We're
No,
charging postseason parking is all we're charging, which is
Okay.
basically $5.
Right, which is what they're proposing in any case, I think, right?
The fee of the entry fee for the race is $35, and 100% of that will go to Susan G. Komen. Again, I'm not sure about the logistics of the parking, but to accommodate 500 people, it would be similar on the scale of Westchester Tri, Jarden. So mapping out the territories of the water, of being able to have facilities for bathrooms and parking and removal of the waste that could be accumulated by the volume of people coming into our park, to keep and maintain the integrity of the park without disrupting any of the other surrounding business owners, and to be mindful and respectful of the waters and so forth and so on.
Sure. So I think, Debbie, what happens is whenever there's a group that comes and seeks permission to use the park, we always charge them a fee. It's not a huge fee. I wouldn't say it's a nominal fee, but it's pretty insignificant, relatively speaking. So any not-for-profit that comes forward, we ask them to make that contribution to the park. And I think on top of that, what we're also saying is, for people who do park at the park,
Okay.
there is a relatively nominal parking fee too of, I think, $5.
Well, I actually read this wrong. I thought you were proposing, I guess you'd propose it at Newport Dunes, a $5 all-day parking fee. I'm just looking at did you prepare this, or? In any case, it doesn't make a difference. The bottom line is, I would be happy if they simply paid the 5-day parking.
Absolutely.
Their members paid
Oh,
the
yeah.
$5 fee.
Yep.
I
Oh,
don't think
yes.
they'd have to contribute anything further over and above that. 'Cause
Yes.
if you're going to generate 500 people, that's
Yes.
terrific in itself.
Yes.
Good.
Sorry,
Good
Bill?
Yeah, I think I'm all in favor. I think it's a great idea. When we do the triathlon, a lot of that uses Playlands parking. We
Great.
work together. So once we get an idea of what the actual scope is going to be, we would have to work out, who's going to park where, and
Yeah, it was fine.
that shouldn't be a problem, but just to
That time
realize
of
that
year.
there
I
is
think
that-
what we're doing today, Deborah, is kind of just approving the concept, approving the date, and then saying, okay, start working with park staff to work out the details.
Thank you.
But
Thank
we're
you.
thrilled. I mean, I got to
Thank
say,
you.
I can't. I want to be there. I didn't know you could combine. I don't do paddleboard. I've told
It's
Mr.
great.
It's good, though.
Zuckerman for years now I'm going to do yoga. So I just combine the two. This is a one in a
We'll
once in
get
a
1,000
lifetime
people
opportunity.
if Joe Carvin's going to do
Yes.
yoga on a paddleboard.
Lisa.
Working with Deborah on this, along with
Shh, hold on a second.
there's a national Stand Up for the Cure.
Go to Lisa. Did you go to the mic? Yeah.
This, yes.
Hi, I'm Lisa Waldman, if I can add
Sure,
this, and
please.
I'm working with Deborah. We're also working with a national event person whose job is to help on a national level take the Stand Up for the Cure into different areas. So far in the last several years, successfully, they've been doing it in Miami, in Newport Beach, California, and in Michigan. So this is now their chance to bring it to New York, and they've agreed to let us do it in Rye.
Fantastic. Well,
Fantastic.
I'm thrilled you chose Rye Town Park to get the national coverage, and I can't thank you enough. I think we have
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
so
overwhelming support.
I think because it's been staged other places, you obviously have experience with
And with all
the water
local-
safety aspect,
yeah.
because with that many people in the water, we'll need lifeguards, I guess, but
Yeah.
you'll work that out with park
And
staff.
I'm the
Yeah.
only certified Academy of Surfing instructor level 2 in New York. The only female certified
Wow.
instructor.
Wow.
But don't be sick
Okay.
that day, we're gonna need
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
What about a rain date?
A rain date, again, I don't know if they have.
The water's
rain
wet.
date.
If they get
Rain or
rain, what's the
shine, the
difference?
only time that we don't go out is obviously during lightning, and if the
Mm-hmm.
winds are more than 15 miles an hour.
Okay.
But again, I'm grateful and so honored and privileged to be able to bring this to Rye with your
We're excited.
guidance and supervision.
Thank you very much.
I do have a handout.
Oh,
that I
wonderful.
can give you.
Well, you know what? Why don't you leave those with Mr. Nowotnik or Park staff? That'd be,
Great.
Thought she was gonna give you a proclamation,
So-
Joe.
Part of
Paddleboard,
our
the paddle.
objective is to get the right connections also, so that we can start talking to
Sure.
many of
think
you
I
in the
do.
room.
well, just so you're aware, well, obviously start talking to, I think certainly Mayor Zach and Mayor Rosenberg will continue to be on the board. Mr. Zuckerman, who you should say hello to on the way out, he'll be in this seat come January, so you should definitely talk to him and introduce yourself on the way out as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, here you go.
We don't need to
Beautiful.
vote on that.
So can I make a motion that we approve SUP for the cure?
Yeah, well, let's get
yeah.
our team back. Bishop,
Just,
let's just, okay.
Bill, just a question, Bill, do we have any other things going on that day on September 10th?
We'll have to check.
Because I know 9/11 is obviously, I don't know if the county has anything going on at Right Playland or anything for 9/11, that's all.
We'll have to-
Should be
we'll
good,
have to
right?
Check all that.
Okay.
We have plenty of time, so that's why it's good you came now. But there's a lot of details that will have to be worked out.
Okay.
Do we need to use Playlands Beach too if it's a large group? These are all issues that we'll have to work on.
Thank you.
Great.
Mr.
So
Sapp.
let's make a motion, I'll make a motion to approve the concept of doing this on a date to be finalized and with logistics to be finalized, but I think it's a great thing, and I would move that forward.
So moved.
Perfect. So move, can Bishop just call the roll?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
you.
Thank
Good
you for
luck.
your presentation.
Good luck.
And it is September 11th will be the 15th year. So that's why we selected the 10th, so that it
Okay.
wouldn't conflict with any of the other existing and ongoing
Great.
memorials
There's
going
other things going on,
To
right,
be
very
considered
good.
to the
Killian?
other members. Thank you.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Commissioner Salanitro,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosenberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Sack.
Yes.
Commissioner Carvin.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
Now you're back to Park Management Report.
Park Management Report, Mr. Giaffre. You head up. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
As you all know, the park is closed, and the only use that the park is getting are the people that walk along the path. First of all, I'd like to thank the commission for all the cooperation that you gave us. We would not have been able to do what we do. We've had another successful year where we didn't end up in the red. We took that park over the last 8 years from a $400,000 deficit to the last 3 or 4 years with not profitability, but on the blue side of the revenue. But I would like to thank Joe Carvin, Joe, for the last 8 years. You've been a gentleman in all that you've done. You were able to secure financing for the roof, which saved us from having the building collapse on us during a work day. amongst many other things that you've done. It's been a pleasure working with you, Joe, and the commission in general. So I just wanted to thank you for that. Bill will finish off with the...
Well, before you leave, I just want to, well, I'll let Bill say, and then I'll make my remarks.
Okay.
Well, there's not a, as you can see, we're down to a one-page report for the last period, which luckily nature has been very smiled on us, and the public has used the park extensively during this period of time when frequently only the hardiest of people have been able to come down and use the park. But with thanks to the nice weather and the warm temperatures, people have been on the beach. They've been using the park, and I have to say that as far as I know, everything has been going smoothly. We've had no problems with vandalism, no problems with dog issues. That things seem to be going along well. Knock on wood that we don't jinx anything. And I think we had sort of the last of the activities was the turkey run. That we made. There may be a Playland plunge. I mean a raise plunge, I think it's called, on New Year's Day. That I haven't seen it, but they do it normally every year, where it's a fundraising plunge that's at Rye-Town Park. Other than that, we're getting ready for the spring. Actually, it may seem far away, but we start. We've already gotten requests from groups who either want to have a band that they know about that they'd like to have us play, and people were asking about scheduling the use of the pavilions. Thanks to our website and thanks to all the ways that people can find out about the park during the off season, I think we will be hitting the spring, really moving forward for the next year. And I want to thank everybody who's been so much involved in this, and Fred has been a great leader as far as making people work together and really do what's best for the park. And and Terry Finelli, who's come in and really done a great job with the financial operation of the park. And it's no coincidence that we're doing so well financially because of her fiscal management. So anyway, thanks everybody.
Thank you very much, Bill. Well, I just want to, since this is my last meeting, I did want to take this opportunity to thank the Rye-Town Park staff. It's hard to remember, as Fred said, when the year before we took over, I think they generated about a $440,000 loss. We had a lot of good luck this year, but we're going to end up with a $100,000 surplus. And I remember there was no Rye-Town Park manager when we came in, and we put out a RFP. We got 3 people, and we selected 2 of them. And we couldn't have been more fortunate in the people we selected, Bill Lawyer and Fred Giaffre. Bill had run the Greenberg Nature Center for a long time, and he brought that experience to the plate. He brought a background in environment, helped us greenify the park. I'm inventing words here, but helped us basically take it from that perspective. And Fred Giaffre, I think, had the absolute requisite skill set to deal with Rye-Town Park, and that skill set was, you have to deal with Rye City people, Portchester people, Rye Brook people, and Rye Neck Mamaroneck people, and then obviously people from outside the park. And it's very different cultures, very different expectations when people come to the park. And again, talk about a gentleman, Mr. Giaffre, I learned later, never swears. I tried to get him to swear, and I couldn't get him to do it. He treats everybody with respect. He's a calm voice in what can be a sometimes stressful situation. A lot of people going in and out of that park. A lot of people going out of the park to watch fireworks. And quite frankly, for the safety record that Mr. Giaffre and Mr. Lawyer have had all those years is absolutely fantastic, and a real credit to the fantastic work you've done. And finally, Terry Finelli, when we brought Terry in, she'd been a background in banking, and we were having difficulty keeping track of the finances. It was actually interesting. The first year we collected $800,000, we'll only be able to account for like $300,000 because they didn't really have accounting systems in place. So Terry took that under her wing and really gave a top flight cash processing system put in place in the park, and the results speak for themselves. And by the way, they did this with fewer cars. We increased the green space in the park. We limited the cars to a certain barrier, and so we increased the green space and improved the financials at the same time. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank the Friends of Rytown Park, who were absolutely fantastic, contributed throughout, and again, really helped us think through the issues and the Rye City commissions. I think my favorite meeting ever, because I saw Paula Schaefer the other night, who helped us with the financials. Catherine Parker helped with some of the things we were doing. I'll never forget, she said she was worried that there was a sign in the park that said, "You can't have any fun." But ultimately, the scrutiny helped us. And I think what was nice at the end of the day to go to that meeting in Rye City, where Catherine Parker sang our praises, Paula Schaefer sang our praises, and ultimately came to the conclusion that the park was being very, very well run. So I want to thank you, Mr. Jaffrey, Ms. Finelli, Mr. Lawyer, for all the hard work and dedication you've given us over the last 8 years. The park wouldn't be where it was without you. And finally, your sergeant in arms here, Mr. Nowotnik, has been assiduous. I had to look that one up before I get here today. Assiduous in his support of the park, really daily. He and Mr. Arcaro put together financials along with Paula Schaefer. We now know, I didn't know when we came in, there's 102, 103 days a year. We know which days rain. We can tell you how many days it rains. We can tell you how many of the personnel now are resident and non-resident. So we really, thanks to Mr. Jaffrey, Lawyer, and Terry Finelli, and Mr. Nowotnik, and it's been run like a business, and a business that hopefully provides people with an enjoyable experience. So again, thank you so much. Okay, the financial report, I think we've given it. I don't think there's any change from last month, is there, Mr. Nowotnik?
No, we have not received any updates, so.
So we're, okay, as long
But we're still confident that the forecast numbers are in fact real good numbers.
Right, and so we're hopeful we'll have $111,000, $110,000 operating profit this year.
Yes.
Which will be used for capital expenditures, as we talked about. So
You said, Bishop, you sent the city of Rye that invoice, as Commissioner Brett had asked you to? Because Joe wasn't here last month, Mr. Mayor.
Right.
Wasn't here, so we spent some money from the city of Rye last meeting.
I have to do that, yes.
So yes, please stay in touch with our professional city staff, because they're the ones that control the purse strings.
Take the money.
They will have an invoice shortly.
Perfect. Okay, and then, the Rytown Park Operations, Old Business, the restaurant RFQ. I don't know, Mr. Zuckerman, if you want to come up to the podium. I know Ms. Brett and you were going to pick this up, and I think you're supportive of it. I'm not sure if you had a chance to review the RFQ. We did have a breakfast, I'm happy to report, with Mr. Biederman. And he does seem very interested in pursuing this opportunity. As people remember, Mr. Biederman is the gentleman that turned around Bryant Park. So we think that's a wonderful opportunity, and I'm thrilled that you're prepared to take this forward.
Well, I don't know the status. I did have a conversation with Laura Brett. I don't know if the RFQ actually went out or not. Mr. Nowotnik did not.
Bishop didn't go out, did it?
It has been published on our website. But we have not pushed it physically out the door yet.
My discussion with Laura, we discussed the fact that the dates set forth in the RFQ are a little bit ambitious, considering it hasn't gone out yet. To have a response early next year in January, I think is not going to work. Nobody's going to respond.
No, of course not. Well, no, Bishop. So I apologize, Mr. Zuckerman. My understanding was that Laura was going to follow you, and you guys should define the dates, absolutely. So if it's just on our website, I mean, we should turn this over to you at this point, and you know,
We'll
and
send-
anything you want us to do.
I think we can send that out early next year. It's
Perfect.
on the website. We can work on that with the new commission. The only new commissioner is going to be me, and I don't know if Mayor Sack is going to reappoint Laura Brett or not, or is...
Well, Laura is, you know, stepping down from the council, so you may be looking at the new one right here.
That's your decision. She did indicate that she might request that she stay on. That's of course, you're the mayor and you make that decision. So there may be one or two new members next year, and if it is Julie Killian, Julie and I work well on the Charter Revision Commission in Westchester, and we would work well on the Rye-Town Park Commission as well.
Perfect.
So it's on the website. We can always make changes, and it'll, you know, we'll look forward to sending it out early next year.
Terrific. Thank you
Okay.
so much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Zuckerman. And I'm also thrilled to hear, Mr. Salnitra, you're going to stay on the commission going forward, it sounds like.
I heard something, I heard a rumor to that effect.
Wonderful. That's great news. That's great news.
I think everybody knows that Mr. Salonito is an excellent commissioner, and his change is not warranted.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, I have to say, well, he is our MVP, is what I like to
My
think.
biggest, my
But
thanks.
he's,
I just want to say one thing. No matter what your end date is, I think you should probably finalize site tour dates if they're going to stay the same
Yeah,
for
so
planning
I'll
purposes for
should be
anyone
changed.
that might
I was
want
just
to.
take it off the
Even if
website.
you extend the
I'd pull
submission
it off the
deadline.
website.
Yeah,
I'd
pull it off the website.
Yep.
Yep. Pull it off the website. Good.
Well, but I think our experience the last time we sent this out was that no one responded anyway, so it doesn't really matter what the date is. But what
No,
we
we're
do
gonna
know
be
for sure is that there's
positive.
one guy that may be interested this time.
We had to hire
So-
somebody to try to get somebody,
Yeah.
some people, yeah.
I don't think the risk is that we're going to be overwhelmed. Exactly. Terrific. Okay, that's all we had. Business day. Anybody have any questions, comments from the commission?
I was going to comment on what everybody was commenting. I don't have a proclamation. You know, as you know, I'm the only unelected person on this commission, so I don't, unless you want me to sign something,
No,
I will
no,
do
no,
that.
no, no.
And I didn't know if Mayor Pillar was going to be here, so I didn't want to.
Right.
So he's not here, but Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure. You know, 8 years ago when you became town supervisor, you asked me to be on the commission, and I gracefully accepted that. But my statements are about you, not about me. I just really found that your leadership, your ability to have hindsight and foresight as to where you wanted to see the park go, bringing in the professional staff and making the right changes. Politics aside, we did the right thing, and this park really did turn around. It is a jewel of the Long Island Sound. We worked with Rice City residents through your leadership and dedication to the park, and a lot of good things came of it. So I'm proud to be here 8 years under your watch, and I wish you all the best. You've been a great man. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Benny. Well, you guys have had a chance to I think we've exhausted but I do want to thank you, Benny. I really do. As I say, I've jokingly said you're our MVP, but you bring an experience and background that's been invaluable to us in the park, a dedication that's unsurpassed. And so I can't thank you enough, Benny, for all you've done. I'm thrilled that you're going to be kept on and continue to be able to contribute to the park. And I just want to say how much I enjoy working on this commission. You know, we bring 3 different communities together, and you know, I think again we work for the best of Rye-Town Park. It's been a real pleasure to work with everybody in the park, and I wish you every success in the future going forward. So with that, we'll bring it to that. Thank you very much. And a motion to bring the meeting to an end.
Adjourn.
So moved.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
All right, there we go. Thank you.
For the last time, signing off.
Good job.
Thank you, John.